So that says recording now.
Starting record.
Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Piston Podcast, recorded today on the 1st of May. I know, first day of the month. This week, the podcast is going to be a little bit different because I'm joined by my colleague, sometimes friend, Matthew Laferrari.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. We're doing this over Zoom because obviously we can't actually see each other and we can't do it in the Redshift studio or whatever. I'm at home as usual. Matthew's in his kitchen, and it's all very simple. But hopefully it's going to go quite smoothly. We've got a good show for you all, some good conversation, and it's not just me nattering on, so hopefully it'll be a bit more interesting than it has been in the past.
Yeah, because I'm here, obviously.
Yes. So, Matthew, would you like to introduce yourself? Because obviously some of the listeners probably don't have a clue who you are.
I'm Matthew Laferrari. I'm his colleague, friends.
Yeah.
I don't know what much to say. Born in the best place on earth, Newquay in Cornwall.
No, it's definitely Chester, the best place in the world. But
no.
Let's get this over and done with. Promotions and stuff like that. Me and Matthew both have a YouTube channel called All Things Auto.
Yes, we do.
And it's fantastic. So everybody should check it out, obviously. Yeah.
It's a huge laugh. It's so good.
Yeah, we don't really take it seriously, really, do we? It's just messing around with bikes and
it's
cars.
Just because we know, because obviously we're not that big, so we can't afford like ad revenue and stuff.
Of course, we can't just go to Lamborghini and say, "Give me a Gallardo, I want to test it." We're stuck with Fiat Pandas and Audi A4s and
VW camper vans.
VW camper vans. Would you like to talk about your camper van, because that is quite interesting?
I'd love to talk about my camper van. Right, so it's a 1959 T1 camper van. Porsche yellow. You will see, if you check out the YouTube channel, you will see a video coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
1.6 turbocharged VAT4.
Turbocharged?
Sorry, not turbocharged. I don't know why I said that. I'm used to saying turbocharged. 1.6 naturally aspirated air-cooled engine. Probably around 110 brake horsepower, if I'm honest.
It's not standard. Let's just say that with confidence. No. It's not standard. It's
everything that are standard are the brakes.
Yes, because they're not great, are they, Matthew? They're not fantastic.
No,
but I mean, it's from 1959.
Which old car brakes well?
There is,
apart from like Singer Porsches, which cost like £500,000.
Yeah, well, there you go. VW camper van doesn't cost that much. It's just one of them cars. They're probably really bad and probably really unreliable, but they're just amazing.
Oh, it's definitely unreliable.
Yeah, like the VW camper van, the VW Beetle, and the Citroen 2CV, when I was a kid, they were cars I admired, like when I was living in France. Frenchy, yeah. They were cars I really, really looked up to. Like, wow, that is amazing. And I remember when I first met you, 2017. Oh, God, horrible day. I remember when you said, "I've got a VW camper van in my garage." I didn't believe you. And then when I saw it, I was like...
You didn't believe that I had an Audi A4 Quattro, did you?
I didn't believe that either.
So I sent you a video, and I was just like, this was like 3 years ago, and my like baby voice.
Yes, I know.
This is an Audi A4 Quattro, Daniel.
It's 4-wheel drive. I know, yeah. But your Audi's fantastic. It's
Thank you.
It's a 1.9 turbo diesel.
1.9 turbo diesel, tuned.
Yes.
From factory, it had around 140 horsepower. Now it's got about 170.
Yes.
Top speed, maybe 140. I don't know. It's
quick.
Quite quick.
It's an estate as well, which I should point out. And for an estate car, it's amazing. Like, me, you, and your dad have been out in the Audi before, around roundabouts and stuff like that, and it just doesn't lose grip.
No. The handling on it doesn't really understeer.
No, not really.
Not like, most newer Audis.
RS3 and stuff like that. I was watching Fifth Gear the other day. Some good conversation, this. And they were doing a big test between, it was like a knockdown battle between the Seat Leon.
Oh, yeah, Seat Leon Cupra.
Yeah, Cupra. Renault Megane RS, Audi RS3, and a Honda Civic Type R. The first one to go was the Seat, because it just, I don't know, it was very grippy.
I quite like the Seat. I really like the Seat.
But it understeered.
I think the one I'd have most of all is It's the RS3, isn't it? Not the S3. I'd probably have the RS3, but my favourite hot hatch, you know this, Daniel, is the Ford Focus RS.
Yeah.
And your favourite hot hatch is the Civic Type R, isn't it?
It's either
or
the
Megane
Civic or the
RS.
Megane. It's one of the two, yeah. But what was interesting is the second one to go in the big fifth gear championship was the Audi, because it just understeered too much going around the corners. And then it was the Honda that went, and then it was the Renault that won. And in the previous fifth gear test, it was the Renault that won again. The Renault
because isn't it the best front wheel drive hatch around the Nürburgring, isn't it?
I think, fastest. yeah, it won the record last year.
Yeah.
But in a straight line, the Audi would smash it. It really would.
5 cylinders, yeah.
It's only a 1.8 engine, isn't it? Turbocharged in the Megane. But it's around the corners where the Megane comes into its own because it's got the rear wheel steering. It's only a little bit, but it helps massively. And it just handles amazingly. And that's where it gets most of its wins from, is around the corners. And around the Nürburgring, it's known for its quite risky corners. So that's probably why they won the record. But it's not super fast in a straight line. Obviously, you're not lacking speed.
Well, it's not built for straight line speed.
No.
Straight line speed, you get a Dodge Demon.
Yes, or a Fiat Panda, because they're great at everything.
Apart from everything.
Oh, God. So, let's just move on to another bit of conversation before we get into a bit of a row, because I'm sure that's not what listeners want to listen to, going to work or doing the garden.
If you do, then watch our YouTube channel, another blog.
Yeah, there's plenty of arguments on there. But you used to have an Abarth 595, didn't you?
No, it was an Abarth 500.
Okay.
Was it? I think, no, it was
they're known as the 595, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. It was, I love that car. Little Italian car. Yeah. I've got this Abarth t-shirt on because I've been waiting for this Abarth hoodie for like 2 months now.
It just hasn't come.
No.
The
reason why we... go on.
I didn't know you when you had your Abarth, and that's quite a shame, really, because I would have liked to seen it. But just explain to the listeners what it was like as a car.
Oh, I urge you to get one. Remember, I don't know if some of you old Top Gear viewers might know this, Jeremy Clarkson, when he reviewed the Abarth 500, he said it was a mini Lamborghini.
It is.
It's the crackles and bangs.
It's a great car. Yeah, it's a fantastic car. People that follow me on social media and previous listeners of the Piston Podcast, which hopefully is everybody in the world, may know that we've just got a Fiat Panda 100 horsepower, and it's sort of like a cooler version. I mean, cool as in like colder, of the Abarth 595. And I think
say cooler version than in Abarth.
I mean, cooler as in colder. Not as in like cooler as in I've got a Fiat Panda. That's so cool. Yeah. Because it probably isn't.
It's cool.
Oh, I think it's cool, but I think many things are cool and they're not.
The only thing, because the Abarth was very good. Not the best round town, because your Panda's like this as well, because it's very jumpy, isn't it?
Jumpy, yeah. Slow speeds. It just wants to go.
And I remember our Abarth, if you took it out of sport mode in the Abarth, it was horrible. So the only way to drive it properly is to drive fast.
Speed and power. Yeah.
Speed and power.
It's the same with the Panda. I think a few cons, I'll say this, because I've had it for a month or two, I think now. That's gone quickly. A few cons is the suspension. It's quite firm. It's the same in the Abarth, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel the interior plastics aren't very nice, but for a 2007 Fiat, it's not terrible, considering it's a Fiat and it's from 2007. And obviously the jumpiness when you're at a slow speed. But you can sort of bypass that jumpiness if you just put it in a higher gear, like 5th or 6th.
But that's not great around town, is it? Putting in 6th gear all the time, is it?
Not really, no. It can increase MPG. Like the best MPG we've ever had in the Panda is 42.
I think I've no idea what we had in the Fiat.
I think it's going to be a bit higher, seeing as it's turbo.
Because the Fiat is basically the same engine as the Abarth, just without a turbo.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
1.4.
Yeah, and the turbo gives it an extra 35, 40 horsepower or something like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it does make quite a bit of a difference. But one thing without the turbo is, yes, you've got less power, but then you haven't got the turbo lag. So once you put your foot down, you get quite a lot of the throttle.
Oh, the Abarth had massive turbo lag, yeah.
That's not. Yeah, I know. It's not very surprising because you can't. I don't know. I don't know really. You just sort of imagine it from a small car with a turbo. I mean, in our Renault Scenic, it does have some turbo lag. You have to take it up to about 3,500 RPM for it to kick in. And then I'm not going to say it flies because it doesn't, but it starts becoming a bit more.
The Audi, the turbo in it works brilliantly. It kicks in about 1.5 revs. That's because, well, it's a diesel. So it's meant to do that, but really good.
At 1.9 diesels, they're great engines, bulletproof, completely bulletproof. We had one in our old Renault Laguna. I know, so interesting. And they're just so faultless. They just sort of go, what? You want me to do a 1,000-mile journey? Okay, what's the problem with that? They just
Would you like to tell the story about how you and your family fell in love with Renault?
Oh, dear. So it was about, I think it was about 20 years ago. My mum worked at a company, and they normally have some cars that they drive around the site, and they weren't available at the time. So I think I can't remember what the car was, but she was told that she could drive the manager's car, and the manager's car, I think, was a Renault Laguna. She drove it, she fell in love with it, and she drove it multiple times, actually, after that. And then we got a gold Renault Laguna, and then we got a silver Renault Laguna, and we got a brown Renault Scenic.
Well, the guy who sold it to you said it was bronze.
Yes. Yeah, it did say it was bronze. It didn't have any pictures, but we're told... It's just confusing. Basically, we didn't actually buy that car originally. We bought a different car, and I think it was blue or something. And it was basically double sold. But then we were told that you can have this one. It's bronze, and it's better spec, it's better quality, and it's cheaper. So we were like, okay. And then it came up, and then we went to go see it. It wasn't bronze. It was brown. It's poo colour. That's what it was. And at first, I hated it. It took me a few years to get used to it, and now I honestly can say, if it's clean, it doesn't actually look that bad. It is quite a nice colour because it's very metallic-y and it's quite stylish.
Yeah, I just don't like French cars. I think my favourite French brand is Alpine or
Bugatti.
Citroën. No, Bugatti, you say it's French. It's built by German people.
Yeah.
In France, yeah, but it's built by Germans.
It's a French company, though.
It's a French name.
Dacia, right? Owned by Renault, doesn't make it French. It's still Romanian. So Bugatti is French. If you ever look back in the heritage, it's a French company.
All right. French cars, I always say French cars are slow. Sorry. 2 cars. Well, no, 3 if you count the EB110.
Yep.
Are the 3 fastest French cars.
Yes, and the Renault Scenic. And the Renault Scenic.
Renault, if you're listening, which you probably aren't, make a Renault Sport, Renault Scenic.
Be quite cool. But I think they're going to completely stop making the Scenic because everybody's going for the Captur and the Kadjar, or SUVs. And it has been rumoured that they're going to stop making the Scenic. And that is really quite sad because it's a good car. It's not very interesting, but it's a good car.
Yeah, it's
same goes with the Megane. Because Renault obviously going quite hybrid-y and electric over the next few years. So the future of the Megane is at risk. And that'll be really quite sad because the Megane is quite a legendary Renault, to be honest. It's one of the more famous ones. And just think we'll never have a Megane RS again. And that is quite sad to have a hot hatch, a massive group of hot hatches, and there not be a Renault Megane RS. I think it's going to be quite strange. It's going to be quite difficult to get used to. Sad, very sad, because they're all falling into the SUV trap.
Also, with electric cars, as you know, they weigh so much, and
they do.
The lightweight sports car is going to die out because
of course, the
only lightweight electric car is the Renault Twizy, which it can seat 2 if you pay extra, and has a top speed of 30.
I was actually reading an article, and somebody was commenting on the article saying that now is because it was all about pollution and global warming and emissions coming out of cars.
Yeah.
And somebody was saying, we should introduce the 1,000-kilo rule where cars can't be over 1,000 kilos because that means they're heavy and they're using more fuel and it's bad for the planet.
Yeah.
But can I just say something? Our 1.4-litre Fiat Panda weighs 975 kilos. Our 1-litre Toyota Yaris weighs just over a ton, which means that the Toyota wouldn't be allowed, but the Fiat would be, even though the Fiat lets out a lot more emissions. I just don't think it's going to work. And if you think electric cars, it's pretty much impossible to make an electric car under a ton.
I think, no, my yellow van wouldn't be allowed. It's quite light. It weighs about 1,100 kilos for a van.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I really want you to do an electric conversion to it. I think that'd be really cool.
I'll do it because it's, my dad's van, and it will be passed down to me. I'm only going to do an electric conversion until
when you have
I
to.
absolutely have to. Yeah, I will definitely do that, but it's just electric cars. They're brilliant around town, but I don't really like them.
Yeah, we're very different. I really like them. I really support them. I think they're very cool. But yeah, you understand them, but you just prefer the petrol and diesel, which I appreciate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I like them all equally, to be honest. I don't really have a preference. They're all good for their own reasons. Yeah. Right. Let's move on away from pistons, obviously, because it's the Piston Podcast. And let's talk about bicycles, because me and you like our bikes, don't we?
Oh, well, yeah, it's the fastest way of transport because we can't have a car because we could drive in 2 years.
Yeah, I know. 2 years. 2 years. I'm going to drive before you, hopefully, so I can't wait for that day. Anyway, back to bicycles. You have got a new bike coming in soon. Would you like to explain what it is?
It's not new.
Well, definitely not.
It's very old. I don't know how old it is. It's a vintage rally bike. I really don't know much about it. It's originally my granddad's.
Yeah.
And he said that we can do it as like a project to build. So if you know Daniel, he has a Triumph Roadster from 1958. And
yes, that's right.
I love that bike. And so I really wanted a vintage bike of my own.
Yes.
And the only thing I do know about the rally bike, it's green. I think it has some stripes on it. 4-speed hub gears like yours, but yours is 3-speed.
Yeah, but does it have white walls though?
I'll buy some.
I recently put some white walls on my bike. People follow me on social media. You'll probably see it on there. Daniel Cars05. Bit of a plug. I'm really proud of how it looks. It looks fantastic. It really increases the vintage look. I think it's superb. Moving away from vintage stuff, let's go on to day-to-day bikes. What have you got in your garage?
Well, I have a Carrera. For all you yobbos out there listening, I have a Carrera Hellcat mountain bike, which is it's really good.
It's reliable.
Off-road ish.
Yes.
But once you get on road and you're doing longer journeys, and that's why I have a racing bike, a Italian designed, not Italian built, Italian designed racing bike called a Mech Pinarello Carbon.
It's nice. That bike got me to buy my own. It's a Trek Alpha 1.2. I know. All these bike names are a bit too much, aren't they? Saying that, I've got a Carrera Banshee, and that's not a very impressive name, is it?
No, Carrera Hellcat, named after the Dodge Hellcat, which is one of my favourite muscle cars.
It's a cool name. But Banshee, it doesn't work. Really, really doesn't. But the plan was for this year because I think last year we started cycling a lot more often. Me and you going all around.
Yeah,
Britain
if it wasn't for the COVID-19, we'd probably be out like every day.
Yeah, we would be.
But we'd be in school right now, wouldn't we?
We would be, yeah, instead of recording this fantastic podcast. But yeah, I wanted to do a lot more cycling and a lot more touring on the bikes this year, but it's a bit stuffed with the plan.
So did I.
But hopefully later on in the year, like August time, when everything's sort of heading back to normality, we'll be able to hit the road again and go adventuring and record more All Things Auto videos for the channel. Subscribe, like, comment, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, it's a shame, but, you know, lockdown is for the best. But I'm just thankful for Zoom and all this technology, which means we can still be productive and do all this interesting stuff. Because every morning we're WhatsApp calling and we're constantly talking about something interesting car-related. And I'm constantly thinking to myself, this would be great podcast content. And that's why today we're recording. Because it's just great. Right. let's move away from bikes now because it's time to do a review, and this is going to be quite interesting. Matthew, what is your favourite car at the moment? Say the right one, please.
It's not my favourite. It's one of them. It's the Ferrari Laferrari.
Yes, that is true. And it's priced around £1 million. That's right, isn't it? It's quite a big price.
Yeah.
But it's a special car. Very few of them were made. And I suppose...
It's so good looking. You personally, you prefer out of the hypercar Holy Trinity, you prefer the P1, don't you?
Yeah,
From McLaren.
That's just me. It'd go P1 and then 918 and then the LaFerrari. But it doesn't mean I don't like the LaFerrari. I think it's a very special car.
I think I'd go opposite. I'd go P1, then 918. No, not P1, sorry. LaFerrari, then 918, then P1.
Yeah.
But they're all brilliant cars.
They are fantastic. So, engine, it's got a 6.3 litre V12 engine, which is just crazy. And it's got an electric motor, which produces, according to this website, 160 brake horsepower. So I like the way you've got the electric motor and the petrol engine, but I don't like the way that you can't actually use electric mode on its own. I think that's quite a fault.
With Porsche, the 918, isn't it? Because you can separate them, and
the P1.
It can do nearly Porsche claim, which I think is not right.
No.
90 mpg, and the LaFerrari is just like.
Let's not forget the owners of Porsche, Volkswagen, right?
Yeah.
They're known for maybe not going with their figures, are they, really?
No, they've taken a more Italian way. See, Italians, they can just lie.
They just lie. Yeah, that is true. It's got a rear mid-mounted engine layout, and it produces 950 brake horsepower with the engine and the motor together, which is just ludicrous. It has 666 pound-foot of torque, which again, it's just crazy. You're not going to tow a caravan, obviously, but it's crazy. MPG. Combined.
It's like 13 or 23 or something. Very
14.
low.
14.
Oh.
I know. It's a whopping 14. Makes my Panda look good. Range. It's got a 95-litre tank, fuel tank, that is. And I don't think you can't go. No, you can't go far at all with the electric motor because you have to work it with the engine. But I think
no, you can't separate the electric motor from the.
Forgetting about that. It's a bit of a letdown, really. 0 to 16 under 3 seconds, which is amazing. Top speed, 217 miles per hour plus. It's been tested at 217, but no more.
I watched a video of one. It hit like 230 or something crazy like that.
They are weird cars. It weighs, you ready? 1,585 kilos, 1.5 tons. But obviously it weighs a lot because it's a big engine. It's a big
electric motor. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. CO2 emissions. Because obviously this is 2020. We have to talk about this, even though people that buy this car probably won't give a damn. But CO2 emissions, the LaFerrari emits 330 grams per kilometre, which is quite a lot. But if you compare it to the McLaren P1, that emits 194 grams per kilometre, which is a lot lower. So, yeah, it's your choice there.
My VW camper van. My VW camper van is better for the environment than the Ferrari Laferrari.
Yeah, I know. An engine from the 50s, it's crazy. And the rivals, obviously, I've written down the McLaren P1 and the Porsche 918. They're the main ones, to be honest. Everybody knows. Pros and cons. Pros, it looks gorgeous. Really nice.
It is.
It's very nice.
Best looking of the trio for me.
Possibly. It's an Italian hypercar, which is just, wow. That's all I'm going to say. Cons, you can't use electric only, and I think that's quite a letdown, but Ferrari aren't keen on electric cars, which is understandable because they're Ferrari.
Yes, but the P1, if you drive that electric only, it only has... You talked about this when you did radio. That only has a range of like 9 miles or 11.
It's really ridiculous, but yeah. And the last con I've written down is Matt likes it.
Oh, cheers.
It's no problem. And because you like it, I'm not allowed to like it because it's just not how we work. But yeah, there's the Ferrari Laferrari. I'm going to give it a Piston Podcast rating of 4.9 out of 5.
I'd give it a 5. 5 out of 5. Defo.
It would be a 5, but because you like it, it's not. It's a 4.9.
Oh,
yeah, that's true. Right, let's put this aside. In fact, no, would you like to do a quick verdict on the Ferrari Laferrari? Would you like to have your say?
What is there to say? It's £1 million hypercar. The rule is of the Holy Trinity. The McLaren is the fastest if you want to do lap times. The Ferrari Laferrari is the one you want to drive and be in. the 918 is the one you want to use every day, I think.
Yeah,
I read that
I
somewhere.
think you're right there. Yeah, the LaFerrari is the one you would take to a car show, isn't it? It's just,
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
the one you probably wouldn't use a lot.
The one
The
you use
LaFerrari.
most is definitely the Porsche.
Yeah, I think my problem with the Porsche is it probably just doesn't look hyper enough.
It looks good, but
It's not enough.
Remember the Porsche Panamera? Well, no, it's still made, but the old one that I
Sadly.
think Richard,
Yes.
Hammond tested. It just reminds me of that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But yeah, it's weird. Right, car reviews over and stuff like that. It's time now to do a Would You Rather car edition, right? And this is from BuzzFeed.com. So thank you for thank you for them. Thank you to them. There we go. So the first one: Would you rather drive for miles with a beach view, or would you drive for miles with a mountain view?
Depends what car I'm in. If I'm in some sort of Spider, like, I don't know, LaFerrari Spider,
Yeah,
I'd probably choose mountain view. But
I
if I
think
was
I'd
in
go for
something
mountain.
like a Golf or something, I'd choose the beach view.
Yeah, I think you're right there. The next one: Would you rather get stuck in traffic late at night, or hit the road an hour later than you wanted to?
I hate traffic. I don't think anyone likes traffic, but
I don't mind it.
an hour later. You'd have to drive fast
Yes, that is, yeah.
if you're an hour late.
I like driving at night, and traffic at night is quite interesting. I don't know.
Mm.
It depends
It
how
is
tired you are.
stressy, yeah.
Depends how tired you are. Like coming back from Holland at New Year. Oh, it's horrible. Would you rather wash the car yourself or change a tyre yourself?
Wash the car,
Wash the
because
car.
I'm incompetent at anything.
Changing a car tyre is difficult. You change the wheel, it's all right, but tyre. Well, would you rather sit in the back and choose the music, or sit in the front and tolerate meh tunes?
Meh.
Meh. Oh dear, that's difficult. If I'm in the back, I puke, but then I get to listen to the Beatles. If I sit in the front, I don't puke, but then I get to listen to Thomas's ABBA, my brother. So I'm gonna sit in the front, I think, but just tolerate.
I
the
would
ABBA.
sit in the front, yeah.
I prefer sitting in the front. Would you rather drive somewhere in record time, or snag the best parking spot possible?
I don't get what the point is of record times. I mean, you get someone quick, yeah, but that's it.
Yeah,
get the best
I don't get it.
parking spot.
Doesn't make any sense. The
We're
next
very
one.
old.
Yeah, I know. Would you rather have in-car navigation or have a heated steering wheel and seats? Heated steering wheel and seats, I think.
Yeah, and then I just
sat-nav on your
get
phone.
Yeah, and I want someone to read a map.
Or a map.
Be my butler.
Yeah. Would you rather be the only one in your friend group with a car, or be the friend who always has to ask for rides?
Be the one that's got a car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I would like to be a little chauffeur for people. Like, oh, I'm drunk. Can you pick me up, Daniel? Okay. Gives me a ride out in my Panda. Would you rather sail through every stoplight, traffic light, or never have to merge or change lanes? On paper.
Well, we can't exactly do these because we don't drive. But
no. Traffic light.
I like it when we change lane in the car. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Put
I like
foot
overtaking.
down.
If you think of it on a bike, would you like to go past the red light? I know you do anyway, but would you like to?
I've never done that for any police officers.
For the podcast's sake, Matthew's never done that. Don't come at me or him. Don't be emailing pistonpodcast@gmail.com or whatever. Yeah, go past every traffic light, I think.
I'd do that. Go past every traffic light. But changing lane, if I'm on a bike, I feel like people are just going to run me over.
Yeah.
Because it is me. And if you don't know me, I'm famous for falling off and crashing and going into a ditch.
Yeah, that's true. Would you rather catch up with a friend while driving or belt show tunes while driving?
What?
Catch up with a friend while driving, like, hello, Or would you rather?
Oh yeah, definitely
blast
catch
music.
up with a friend. Defo. Socialise. You'd probably choose music because you'll like that.
I probably would, to be honest. Would you rather put up with a backseat driver, which is me, but in the front, or need caffeine with no rest stop for miles? I never really need caffeine.
I don't need caffeine. Put up with the backseat driver, and if they're annoying, then leave them.
Kick them out. Yeah. Yeah, or boot it. Would you rather wind through beautiful back roads or cruise on the highway with no other cars in sight?
So there's no other cars in sight, then I could do a top speed test. But
speed cameras in sight.
Oh yeah. Well, there'll be speed cameras on country lanes, won't there?
On back lanes.
On back lanes, yeah, but
not really.
I choose the back lanes, country lanes.
Go for the back lanes. Yeah, I do like it. And that's the end of the list. So BuzzFeed, there we go. That's it. That's quite good. Maybe next time you're on the podcast, we can do would you rather have an Alfa Romeo or a Fiat or something like that?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that'd be good. In fact, maybe we could make up a few more. Just make them up. Should we do that? Just a few more.
Would you rather drive in the snow or drive in the rain?
Ooh. Drive in the snow.
Well, it depends what car, because BMW drivers
M3.
will know. In the snow is absolutely terrible and horrible in every way.
Your old BMW wasn't great, was it? In the rear-wheel drive.
No, it was absolutely terrible.
Dad doesn't like it, does he?
That's why he's got an Audi.
That's why he's got an Audi. Yeah, it's a good car, very good car. Right, what else have I got here to talk about? Obviously, right, you can promote your Drive Tribe if you want. I'm giving you a chance to plug.
I've only ever done one thing, right?
Promote that.
Drive Tribe. Follow me on Drive Tribe. I don't know what my account is. I haven't posted on it in ages.
Matthew Lovehouse.
Matthew Lovehouse on Drive Tribe.
At Drive Tribe. And obviously go to my Drive Tribe because it's the best. At Daniel's Tribe.
I was going to do an article and a review. I did a review on a Bentley Bentayga.
Yes.
With my true best friend.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was properly good. I've always loved Bentleys, but I'm hoping to do one on the McLaren 570S. Aid Smith, if you're watching.
Yes, listening. Yeah.
Or watching, you never know, on the video podcast.
I'm so used to doing radio and podcasts. At the end of my YouTube video I recorded a few weeks back, I actually said thank you for listening. As though they weren't watching. How dare they? Right. I just want to talk about this. Of going down my road these past few days, it's been absolutely bonkers BMW M4. And it's an M4 convertible. And it has the biggest exhaust.
I hate the M4.
It had a quad exhaust.
Just get an M3. Don't get an M4.
I agree.
M3 is better. Is it cheaper?
I don't know. It's better though.
It's better. Just get an M4.
I would say go for an M2 because they're the best.
M2. My favorite is an M3, but my favorite fast saloon car is an Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio.
Ugly. Yeah, it's a fantastic car. I've been driving on Forza Horizon 4 because it's pro driver. It's a great car. It's just beautiful. It looks great. I've got a Hot Wheels model down there, and Matthew wants it, but I'm not going to give it to him.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, what else is there to talk about? Something for me, actually. This one. Listeners may know that I'm currently building a Tamiya VW camper van. And I'm doing well. I haven't actually done much since last week's podcast, but I have actually ordered some oil-filled springs because the original ones aren't very good. They're a bit cheap and they don't handle very well. So I bought some different ones. And a little life hack for you: if you get the official Tamiya oil-filled springs, then they cost about 70 quid for 4.
You wouldn't get any other teenager doing this, would you?
No, not at all. No. But I managed to find the exact same one just from Hong Kong, but they supply them for Tamiya for 20 quid. So that's quite good. You save a lot of money that way. So there's a little life hack for you Tamiya geeks out there.
And you said you were going to paint it Porsche yellow, which is the same colour as my van.
That is true, yeah. Do you know what? What's going to be fantastic? What I want to do is when we go to these air-cooled car shows in your camper van, is to bring the little one as well, so we have little and large. Yes. Come on. Do you remember when we went to the Anglesey Steam Rally in 2019 and there was that big remote control car?
Oh, yeah, that was...
That was the Tamiya one.
He went there on his Triumph, and we had to go on these horrible dirt tracks, and I went on my dad's mountain bike.
I know.
How did you? I got a puncture because I rode his bike home because I was very happy on Valentine's Day, actually. How single are we?
It was, and, we're filming.
I went on some twigs and I got a puncture. You went on gravel for ages and you didn't get a puncture.
I don't get it. I really don't get it. But I haven't had any problems with tyres recently, so...
Really?
Yeah. Apart from exploding.
Yeah. Oh.
But that's sorted with the new tyres because the other ones weren't shaped properly. And you know how you're a bit against like inner tube slime and tyre slime and stuff like that?
I don't get the point of it. I know it's to add a coating, but every time you've used it, it's exploded.
Well, you know this, obviously, but I'm going to tell the listeners. I've got it in my Carrera and on my Triumph. Well, not anymore on my Triumph because it all exploded. Don't have it on my racing bike because it adds drag. But on my Carrera, it actually worked because I was cycling it the other day, came back, and there was a piece of glass in the tyre. So we removed it, and then a bit of slime came out through the tyre. We were like, oh dear. But then, actually, the slime sealed the hole, which meant that we don't actually have to take the tyre off and the inner tube off and repair it. It just sealed itself. It's amazing.
There's glass, because, we can cycle now for, what is it, like an hour or something a day? There's glass on my actual, close, where you go into it, so which is just brilliant when you're on a racing bike. But
yeah, I know. People in your area have actually been against cyclists recently because of lockdown, and they think they should stay indoors, even though they've got the right to go out, and they've been laying nails and stuff like that about, which is disgusting. So if you're one of them people and you're listening, unsubscribe to the podcast because you're not worthy enough to listen. It's just a horrible thing to do. Not welcome.
I mean, you wouldn't like that if someone did that to your car, would you?
Not at all. No. Not in the precious hand-cut V12s and the Panda. So I think we've been rambling on for about 35, 40 minutes, which means I think we're coming up to the Zoom deadline. So this has been episode 5 of the Piston Podcast. It's been very enjoyable. Nice to be talking to somebody.
When you're doing this, it goes really quick.
It does. It goes really, really quick. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to come on soon. You've been the first guest, actually, on the podcast.
The first guest. I am very happy about that.
Yeah, I didn't actually plan a lot of guests, but it's been quite difficult. But with lockdown and stuff like that, but with Zoom, I think I'll be able to do them. So it's been a very good tester. So thank you. Do you have any last words? Not last words as in I'm about to kill you, but last words.
My dad has a 1959 VW camper van.
Here we go again.
No. Buy Ferrari Laferrari. If you don't, then...
Yes, weird.
Then I know.
Something
buy
to finish...
an Abarth 500.
Okay. Something to finish us off. I've been looking at a lot of car auctions recently, just looking at how much cars are going for on collecting cars. And a McLaren 720S sold the other day, top of the range, for 120 grand. And if you think they were a £240,000 car, it's halved in price in 2 years.
Yeah.
And I was also looking at an MP4-12C. They were like £200,000. 9 years on, 60 grand.
Yeah.
And I know
do you remember in Albania with Hammond when he tested his Mercedes AMG?
Yeah.
Now, 12 grand. And that was like
grand.
a £200,000 car.
Depreciation is just depressing. It's just really, really
it's
horrible.
good.
It's good if you want to buy the car, but not if you want to sell it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is. I think that's all on the list. Yeah, that's everything I've got written down. So again, thank you everybody for listening to the podcast. If you're on iTunes or Spotify or whatever, subscribe to the podcast and download a lot of them. I think my mum hasn't even listened to the podcast yet, which I find quite offensive, but oh well.
I think my mum actually has.
But my mum hasn't. Right, I'm going to have to try and persuade her. But yeah, thank you for listening. Follow me on social media, Daniel Cars05. Go check out All Things Auto, obviously, on YouTube. Some great content on there, and coming up, even lockdown content, even if they're on our own, but whatever. And check out Matthew's Drive Tribe, Matthew Loverhouse.
Yes.
Right. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Stay safe, stay indoors, and I'll see you next week, next Sunday, for episode 6. Thank you, Matthew, very much. Goodbye.